You can shoot that with just a touch.
All right, everyone. I think we are on air. This is our spotlight for today. We will be trying to download and repost this within the update this evening as well. So if you're not able to make it to this this session, we'll definitely allow you to see it later on. Today we have Anthony, our artist, here with us, and he's been our artist for a number of our titles. Probably most recognized though within Too Many Bones, the Too Many Bones series. So we have a number of questions that we've collected from forum posts, all sorts of different places. But we also wanted to just have him answering some questions live as well. So if you have a question, please post it. We have our team ready to kind of throw those up on the screen for us, just like we did with our live session launch.
Should we do a background or?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Just like
who's Anthony. So
yep.
Anthony LeTourneau. Yep, is his name. Anthony's been with us for some time now. We contracted from Bones, the first Bones game. It was his first work for us with us.
Origins cover art.
Yes.
There's some other stuff too.
Origins,
yep.
Cover art. Yes,
yep.
yes. So that was kind of fun. It was all started.
Yeah.
So we love Anthony's work. Anthony, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm a grandfather. I'm a father of 3 boys. I live in northern Minnesota. I've been an artist almost as long as I can remember. Started drawing, 2-3 years old, recognizable images that got encouragement from family and friends, and then just continued to foster that. And it's always that story, like I tell people, that the more encouragement you get from others, the more you feel like you want to go into that direction. And so I always say, is it a talent or is it nurture? I think it's a combination of both. Sure. That I showed some early talent, but because people were encouraging me, you want to continue to do that. It just always was a passion of mine, and went on to college, worked for 23 years illustrating in a studio actually right down the street here.
Yeah. Wow.
Lived in northern Minnesota, drove to the shop down here and drove back every day for a decade, and then kind of made some arrangement changes after that. And
during that time, was that like contract work or what?
No, I was a full-time employee at an illustration shop. We were doing illustrations for textbooks. So think of like large manuals, from medical manuals and biology books, and they would need to do like the anatomical drawings of a figure. So somebody had to draw the body, and somebody would have to draw the heart and the lungs and the kidneys. And it was that from that to ecology and climate and all sorts of books, and so and product illustration. So a little bit of everything.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and then I went from there to full-time freelance, and I picked up a bunch of clients and had American Medical Association, American Academy of Pediatrics, and a lot of private illustration stuff. So
cool.
And then after that, I started working with you over up north. So
Yep. Yeah, we definitely have some history there, and that was a fun time period of graphic design and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, that's Anthony. We're gonna try to jump to some questions. If we've got a few up already, so let's not let those get too far beyond. Let's start with the top one there. Jason from Facebook. Has Anthony ever started any artwork on the companions yet? So okay, first let's qualify that question. He's talking companions of our add-on characters.
There's been some chatter about you guys wanting chips made for King Spots and Gilly's companions and potentially Dusty's Nightshade. So,
yeah, I mean, definitely we're discussing it and have already. I mean, Anthony can attest, right? Have already started a little bit of
work.
Yeah. But yeah, I think right now we're probably not ready to divulge too much on that or commit to anything. But definitely we've heard the cries of and the interest in something like that. Obviously, to clarify, with the bots and Gilly's companions, there is a necessity to continue using the dice themselves.
Right.
This chip would, if we made it, it would only be almost like a flavor chip or a thematic chip that gave that health kind of then the die would go on top of that, chip. So it's strictly for just the fun of having a chip to top that stack with. Yep. So just to clarify, the wolf may be a little bit different, but we'll reveal some of that soon. So good question.
I'll read it. So TG Pumpkin. First of all, thank you, TG Pumpkin, for being so active on the comments for the Kickstarter. It's been awesome to have you rallying for us. The question is, has your artist, Anthony, ever drawn pumpkins before? Specifically, pumpkin knights with flaming scythes seeking revenge on Gearlocks. Just a random question out of the air, for example.
Okay.
Well, the specificity of the pumpkin knights with flaming sights, I haven't done that, but I have done a fair amount of pumpkin illustrations. Funny you would ask. I just completed within the last probably 2 months a large 40-foot illustration mural that's in our local grocery store, filled with pumpkins and gourds. I will ask them if they would like flaming sights and knights
to be
added to it. I could see that would be a possibility.
Awesome.
But, that's yet to be determined. So.
Oh, great. All right. So we got the deal. So what do you like to do to draw more? The baddies, Gearlocks, or cool items that they get from the trove?
Yeah. Wow. That's a hard question to answer. I mean, I love them all. So they each have unique freedom as an artist. So if you just talk about the Gearlocks, I get to illustrate them full figure. Recently, we've had an opportunity to do full figure, so we've done fronts and backs on them for other projects, and so it's been fun that way as an artist to kind of explore the whole round idea of that character. The baddies, just because of the way they are used within the mechanics of the game, it's just black and white headshots, and so as much as the Gearlocks are fun for color, the baddies are fun because I don't have to explore color, but Josh and Adam have been so kind to let me as an artist explore, and so I get to kind of just create things, and that's been absolutely awesome. And I think loot for the same reason. Sure. They kind of give me a very specific direction where they want the loot, as far as, okay, it's in this category, but I get to just kind of have fun. I just really enjoy it.
That's awesome.
It's making me laugh just thinking about, so remembering that the baddies are just headshots, that they ultimately right now are just going on a fairly small chip. And so, and I come to Anthony saying, all right, Undertow, I'm describing the different areas, the different types of baddies that are going to be showing up with an Undertow, and I'm like, and these goblins need a lot more tech, and so, make that happen. And Anthony, I can imagine, is like, okay, so how do I bring about more tech on like a little headshot figure? I mean, there's only so much you can do. So it's always fun to have, like, we'll give him a name, we'll give him a little bit of inspiration in terms of maybe specific baddies, but to leave that open-ended, we're always surprised by what comes, and that's part of the fun of it. Is like, okay, very few times do we say, well, this is tough to work with, we need to change it. But most of the time it's like, oh, like that sets my imagination going, and it's like, wow, this is so cool. So, and
the times that it has been where we've got to readdress something, it has given me an opportunity to kind of just explore again and try to find solutions for that. That's awesome. It's been very fun. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, there are some times, even with this, the artist freedom that Anthony has, if it comes back and it's a little extreme, we try to ask Anthony to just tone back just a little bit here and there, but we try to make sure it's still within our vision, even though we give Anthony that freedom.
Well, what was an interesting one to talk about was like Stanza's development, because she originally was, I felt, came off maybe a little bit more folklore, a little less punk rocker than what she is now.
Much more less aggressive.
Less aggressive, right. So she was more of a, like, almost like humming a tune, and that tune out of her box was more floating and curling up, which that'll come back on some of the songs that she has on her skill map. But yeah, we wanted that initial picture to be much more aggressive, and like, I love what we have now with that almost
even
like
with the face. The face, absolutely.
A little more aggression, violent.
Yeah.
That was fun to explore too.
Yeah.
Not just punk rock, steam
punk rock.
There we go.
Good one. All right. Yeah. Do you want to take the next one? We've got a couple more.
From Tandy.
Yep.
So Tandy Nagy, yes. Do you listen to some music
Oh,
while
that's a good
you
question.
draw? If yes, what do you listen to?
I have varied music interests. My family chuckles because I listen to everything from Bob Dylan and early folk and Johnny Cash to contemporary stuff, rap, and hip hop. It is extremes.
Wow.
There's no classical music. I'll listen to whatever kind of inspires jazz. I listen to a little bit of all of it. But the short answer is I don't listen to a lot of music when I do work. Sometimes I will. I'll break out and listen to it. Okay. But most of the time, shockingly enough, I'll watch television or movies.
Yeah.
And so because I'm digitally based, most of my illustration work, my painting studio is painting, and I'm usually listening to music or talking to a model. Yep. But in my illustration studio, which is just more digital monitors and stuff like that, I'll have usually a little window open, and I've got Netflix streaming or something like that.
Yeah. Does that ever fuel the inspiration?
It does. Matter of fact, I just recently was watching what's the Batman one? The Batman series that's on television.
What?
No, what's the city? Gotham. I was watching
Gotham.
Yeah. And so I burn up. I really binge watch because I'm there for 8, 10, 12 hours, and I'm just episode after episode. Most of the time, it's just in the background noise, and every once in a while, because I'm watching my screen, I'm drawing, I'll look over and see. Short answer to that is what's happening with the villains and what's happening with some of their stuff. I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's kind of cool, or how that villain looked in there might inspire how a villain looked.
Okay.
And matter of fact, there's a recent character.
So Boomer starts looking more and more like the Joker. You know,
there is some of that research. So I'll see Joker, particularly like Joker 52.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with Batman more, but Joker 52 has this really aggressive look. And so then I'll go and Google a whole bunch of those looks, and those won't be directly revealed, but the feeling of that is revealed in my art.
Interesting. Yeah. Cool. Justin, we have a question from you. What were your inspirations for the looks of the baddies and Gearlocks? Were they based off of a few specific things you had seen, or a myriad of lore art over the years of like fantasy games?
I think the answer for that is a lot of the Gearlock is Josh will give me a lot of ideas and like in images. For instance, I didn't know what a bard was, so he sent me 15, 20 different bard images just to kind of let me get an idea of this is what a bard does in that type of game.
Yeah.
And then generally, most of the time, I will do a quick line sketch just out of my head, kind of thinking pose, and add some equipment on them. Then I'll go and do some research. And sometimes I'll even post some models. I'll get some friends or family, shoot some photographs.
Mm-hmm.
The overall tone of the art is just, I don't look at other art for inspiration as far as how it's going to look. I just paint the way I want to paint. Mm-hmm. And so most of it, the color choices and the lighting and all that type of stuff is just what I'm exploring in the moment. But as far as the overall things that are on the character and stuff like that, most of that is just freelancing. And or I'll look at something that's bizarre, like I'll look at 1930s and 40s electronic equipment and think, oh yeah, some of that old equipment can be steampunky, so I'll plug some of these things in here or there.
I have to say, like, that's some of the subtleties that aren't so subtle at times, but they are ultimately subtleties that you come up with. Like, I'll try to communicate a personality maybe, or some characteristics about, like, Boomer, for instance, and then what comes back, we have Boomer with, you know, her headphones on, and she's throwing bombs, and like that was completely you. And I was like, yes, like that's what I'm trying to get to. Like, so that's so fun. I mean, we worked with Tantrum a while, and I know that might come up in another question, but it's good here too. Like to try to get the proportion to like his acts and to the other characters. Like, he's a little guy, but it's nice to put like so much rage into that little package. And that's already kind of a fun dichotomy. But then you have this big axe, and one of those things, my favorite part about that axe is that little keychain ring on the end of it. Like, it was like, it's big, but it's small because of that. Like, it just was perfect. Like, I loved that aspect to it. So those types of things coming out we certainly don't define those for you. Those are just your inspiration, and certainly not coming from anyone else. Like I think that's what makes that art so intriguing.
I think my enjoyment of doing those informs that too. That if you guys enjoy receiving, I'm enjoying making it. So I just want to throw things out there.
That's so cool.
They stick.
There was one guy who finally looked at patches one more time, and I know this guy has been playing Bones for a year.
Yeah.
And he just spotted that patches had a skull on his satchel, and then the needle hole went right in the middle of the skull. And he's like, patches.
Yeah, like I have a whole new
doctor are you?
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Patches was the first one we did, and we did it as a concept probably 2 years before game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was,
that actually helped frame out a lot of maybe the inspiration that we had to at least the character types and what we wanted these Deerlock personalities to feel like, and how, were they more surface level, were they extremely deep? We wanted to find a middle ground maybe, because that's kind of where the game is at. It's not super surface level, but it's not extreme on the RPG scale. Right. So yeah, that's interesting. All right, well, we've got a couple more here. Adam, you want to take the next one?
Sure, Gavin. Gavin, is there something you would like to draw for TMB? We never got around to it. That's an interesting question.
Something I would like to draw for Too Many Bones or Undertow, I would guess, would be that question. I never got around to it. No, actually, you kept me fairly busy. I don't get a lot of chance to kind of get artistically frustrated in that level. No, I do, even as I'm working on a specific project. So say I'm doing a Gearlock or a baddie, I will break away from that and just draw what I want to draw. Like in the middle of a project, even in a hot, busy time.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I will just I'm working on tigers or whatever I'm working on, and then I just put them away and just will draw, something. I try to have a regular practice every morning doing a watercolor journal, and so that's just I'll go and explore something artistically on that. But then even just kind of an artistic release. Yeah. So, but it's not because something I want to get around to. I just do what I want to do in that moment, which helps me keep my skills sharp. And it's kind of like a basketball player shooting free throws, or it's like that type of thing. So yeah.
How many projects do you typically have going at one time? Like Adam and I, when we talk about game development, there's maybe, we have tons of ideas, sure, that are really rudimentary. So let's say 15 ideas going at once that we're talking through, but then maybe 5 of those have been brought along in a process where we're feeding into it semi-regularly, even though it's not our active development project. Right. Is there anything like that with art, or is it a little more short-term? So
it's unique with our relationship with Too Many Bones with you guys at Chip Theory is that once I'm in the groove of doing stuff for Chip Theory, I like to stay with that. Okay. Other than, like I said, those momentary, like an hour in the middle of the day, I'll just do something on my own, and nobody may ever see it. Right. It might just be in the bottom of my sketchbook for 20 years. Yeah. But when I was a freelancer, that was pretty common. When I full-time freelance and had 15 different clients, I might be just doing a logo design one day, and in the middle of the day have to switch because I have to do a point of purchase thing the next day. So
yeah. Second question from Gavin: if you could be a Gearlock or Tyrant, who would you be?
That's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one.
Yeah, so even maybe more on that, do you find yourself associating with, or better associating with, a specific character that you've drawn?
I can't answer that clearly because I actually infuse a little bit of my personality into all of them. So, and I say
there's Easter eggs in
literally because I will have a mirror, or times when my mirror is not available, I'll have just my phone, and I'll hold that up to get an expression or a look or a lighting element, and you'll see some of that in some of the characters. The mouths open a lot more when I was doing just regular illustration work. You'd end up seeing my face in a couple different things, and unless you were really familiar with me, you wouldn't realize that's clearly his nose, or that's clearly his.
To add to that, do you have a favorite baddie or tyrant that you have illustrated?
You guys have something that I've released to you recently that is
Okay.
Pretty fun.
Okay.
That might be revealed soon.
Okay.
And then before that, there is one little baddie that is not a tyrant, not a gearlock, but just a baddie. He's a little monkey with a great big
the imposter.
The imposter. Yeah, that was a fun. I just wanted to play. I wanted to play with the extremes and the idea that we have this kind of going back to actually what I was thinking about was Men in Black. There's a character in Men in Black where it's a full person, and inside of him is this little bitty character that's operating.
Right.
And I thought, well, what would be the extremes here with the apes? So then I had the little monkey with this great big huge orangutan dead head with his eyes kind of
sewn shut. Yeah.
I love that one.
We will. I don't know if we've actually shown that or where we've shown it. I think it's out there somewhere, but we will go ahead and add an image link to that so that you can kind of see what he's talking about with that.
Yeah.
Cool. A couple more. I mean, the questions are great. Thanks for fueling us with some questions, guys. Go ahead if you want to take that one.
Sure. So which one?
Top.
Yep. Another one from Tandy Nagy. If I can ask another one, he says. So Anthony, how long did it take you during the Bones Kickstarter campaign to come up with Nugget after the unexpected success of the game?
Interesting.
That's a very good question.
Yeah, if I remember that correctly, we were late into the Kickstarter there by the time we started talking Nugget.
Yeah.
Probably 2 or 3 weeks in.
I think we ended up posting some very early sketches initially in red, like the red pen sketches, I remember, and then
we didn't go color until after the campaign was closed.
No.
Yeah. Sometimes they come pretty quick. So as far as me coming up with Nugget's look, I think Josh and I did a couple volleys on sketches, and then once he gives me a green light, then I'm free to go. And usually that's within 24 hours, I'll have something back to you on that. And I am somewhat nocturnal, so I will start work sometimes. I'll start early, 6, 7 in the morning, and I'll work until midday. Sometimes I'll go take a break and go cut firewood or something like that, come back in, and then I'll work till 1, 2 in the morning. So I think that was one of those late nighters.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we wanted to turn that. That one I feel like was pretty smooth. Yeah. That one came through pretty smooth. Once we kind of established what we wanted to.
Doesn't get a lot of love from you guys, but
the bolo, that was one of those things that was kind of fun to come up with. Like
that was and that was a whole different.
Yep. Okay, Gavin, third question. Will you be collaborating on any other CTG projects?
I think so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. Lots. We've got lots planned for you.
We do, yeah. So if we didn't mention it already, Anthony is kind of full-time doing Chip Theory for the upcoming pretty much a year. So we're very excited. Cloud Spider coming next year. We have oops. But just know that we've already started kind of collaborating with Anthony on some. We want to kind of place Anthony's strengths, but we also want to challenge him on certain things as well. So I think it's very exciting.
What I'm excited about is kind of like looking at where the artwork will go, because it will definitely be a different look and feel than Bones.
I'm actually hoping so.
Right. And like that's the true, like a true artist that's not just, well, here's my style and this is what you're gonna get. That's what we want, someone that can do a lot of different things and say, we want this type of feel. It needs to be darker. It needs to be rendered a little bit differently in terms of its realistic traits or non-realistic traits. I think we were talking over what was the game that we were kind of inspired by with that. Bastion, I think, was one of them. I really liked the artwork from Bastion that we were wanting to toy with, almost like a little bit more of a watercolor feel to some aspects of it. So I mean, we're delving into that and already kind of starting to plan for what some of those artwork pieces would look like already now.
That's what makes me excited too, because of the outlet where I get to paint oil paintings on my own and I do my own watercolor journal, all of that need to express myself exactly the way I as an artist want to express myself. That's all exercise there. When I deal with my clients and they need a certain look or a certain feel, that's where I get to do that and totally meet their desired need. But at the same time, I still have my own outlet where I need to express myself. So I'm excited to go in a different direction.
That's cool. That's cool.
So
Dave had a fun comment. I think we need a gear lock inspired by your beard.
We haven't ever talked about whether gear locks can have facial hair or not.
Yeah, right. I know. We really haven't. So the only thing where that came up, I thought originally Tantrum. Did he ever have any kind of a beard?
An early sketch. I don't think I ever delivered to you guys.
Okay. You just mentioned.
Yeah, I was thinking more like a dwarf, but then you get too much to the token lore, and I wanted to break away from that a little bit. I never went with a facial hair look. And I think some of my early thought processes, even for some other projects you're working on, was leaning towards a lot more beards.
Well, definitely now that we've said the name, definitely with like the upcoming game next year, there will be I think there will probably have some beards showing up in those knowing what the races are and stuff like that. I think they'll see more of that. But let's jump over to we have some questions. This one is one of them. Anthony, do you play Too Many Bones, or have you played?
I have played. I don't play it regularly. I have adult sons who are really into gaming, and so that's what kind of our family activity is. We like to get together and game. But they're living in different parts of the state. So when we get together, we played it last time, I think in August. We sat down and played it and really enjoyed it. They had not yet played it.
Okay.
So it was fun to walk them through it. And it was fun to obviously see my artwork in play, in action, and then see how it all works together. It was pretty fun.
Cool. We have a couple others here. We've got I can go down the line here. Second question. Are there any big differences between the original game and Undertow in terms of an art perspective?
Yeah, from an art perspective, I don't know, stylized, I've probably become much more detail-oriented in the Undertow one. Obviously, the content-wise, it's much more water-driven.
Right.
So, but as I've been expressing myself artistically, I probably have a lot more finer details, a little less true painterly.
Yeah.
I changed some of my hardware. I work on a Mac studio with a large Wacom Cintiq screen, and for a period of time I was exploring with my iPad Pro, and so some of that artwork was delivered through the iPad Pro, which I love, and then now I've gone back to the Cintiq. So you'll see a little bit of variance there, but I would say the biggest thing between Undertow and Too Many Bones is when we first started talking original Too Many Bones, it was kind of like wood-based steampunk, so a little more rustic, a little more than just your traditional steampunk. It was more like these guys are fashioning stuff out of natural materials in the woods, stones, and all that type of stuff. And so you were seeing a lot more. I
like that distinction
of that type, and then obviously with Undertow, you're seeing much more in the tech, the bots, that type of stuff.
Now we're delving into an older technology, but it's in reality it's actually more advanced.
Yes,
it's older because of the council, but it's more advanced because they were the ones that kind of
Hold on now, that story has not been revealed yet.
Okay, whatever.
That's part of the daily adventure story that begins. Maybe
some of it's coming to light. Yeah,
but definitely part of the Undertow story.
Right.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, like remember our original tracker? I remember Gilly originally. We have a funny, I think it might be artwork we showed in the Liberation Logbook. But he has this, funny looking, whatever, a wand, kind of almost like a,
metal finder.
Metal detector.
That's what I was thinking of.
But it was,
made out of a twig and some willows and stuff. Yeah.
So that was kind of almost an oversimplification of their, technology that they were coming up with or fashioning from the little bit of technology that they had, but it's kind of like a long forgotten art almost. That now
I don't think until we got into Tink and his bots that we started making a turn towards much more revelation of those more mechanical things.
Yeah. We'll cover a few more questions. The questions have lightened up, which is awesome. We wanted to run maybe half hour to 45 minutes. What is our runtime right now? 30 minutes? Okay. So we have a few more here. Let's just go through. Have the Carlsons asked you to illustrate anything where you've heavily disagreed, or like with the direction, or put your spin on it instead.
I think everything has my spin on it.
Yeah.
I don't think, no. I don't think we have had a lot of, there have been some reworks. There's been things where I've delivered something and it hasn't spoken directly to Josh or Adam exactly where they want to go, and we've had to readdress it.
Sure.
But I don't think there's been like artistic disagreements at all. It's been very encouraged by just the relationship of how I can paint what I want to paint, and if there's adjustments, I agree. Most of the time, totally agree with them. It needs to go in that direction.
Right.
I just wasn't either fully informed or even on the same page at that point.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, that is a challenge to like get all that out on like communicated to each other and know that we're on the same page.
We've had a recent discussion even on something that's going to be revealed later that is like, I need to understand what you're thinking here, and because I do operate from a distance, my studio's 100+ miles from here. I come down and visit the shop down here every once in a while, but some of those communications we have is somewhat limited just to the scope of where we are. And,
well, even the Undertow Kickstarter video, that was a big challenge because while I'm working in it and kind of and I have this in my head storyboard, some of it actually storyboarded out on paper, but most of it in my head. And I'm trying to communicate those different graphics. And then I think the key one there was like perspective. And so, you know, sure, we need the backs of the two characters with the raft, but I mean, are you like eye level with them, or are you coming a little bit from above? Is the camera coming above, but you want the shot eye level? Like all that stuff needs to you have to kind of communicate that. It can be tricky, but
that is a little bit of a challenge sometimes because even as I worked with art directors in the past, for them to not understand camera perspective sometimes, you know, you're still limited to a 2D space. And so they might want something that it can't work because you got three things that are blocking that thing. So
well, and now we added the complication with the flat, the way we're doing the pop-up book. So now you do want it flat, and you want it a little skewed or to look flat from an angle. You know, so like it was an interesting thing, but it came out looking pretty good. We'll hit two or three more questions. Let's see.
This is a good question. Anthony, what's it like to see your work all over a tabletop game as opposed to hanging in a gallery?
It's inspiring. To me, it's like a gallery. I don't really see the two being different because at gallery people go and look at your artwork. And in a game you walk by. I mean, it was amazing to go to Gen Con this year and see my work lit up, illuminated on the side pillars, and you know, I mean, everything from the logo, everything is just like, wow, that's all my stuff live and in color. It's cool. It's as cool as being in a gallery.
Final question here, at least that we have on this list, is: do you do commissions? Well, I know TG Pumpkin, you'll probably want to commission the, you know, the cool pumpkin.
I do commission. I mean, chip theory keeps me busy, but I enjoy exploring other stuff and
Cool. If there was ever interest, it's certainly something you can contact us about. But yeah, we get first dibs, so you know. All right. Well, thanks, Anthony. Thank you for coming.
Guys. It's been
really fun. This was fun to have you down here.
What a pleasure. What a treat.
Hopefully everyone enjoyed that.
Share with your friends, guys.
Yeah, we need to keep this campaign going.
Yes.
So, all right. Thanks, everybody.